music is so firmly rooted in the culture of this place. It is an extension of the hardships, of the joys, of the ups and the downs.
We feel that our culture is more important than our own lives here. I think most people still really feel that. And when you lose that a little bit, I think the quickest and easiest way to get back to it is head downtown and hear a band. Go over to your friend's house and hang out in the kitchen and strum a couple songs. You know, like, I think that's the quickest and easiest way to get back to something that makes you feel tied to where you are and who's around you and what you're doing and who came before you and what they were doing.
Sometimes all you have is wondering, and sometimes truth is hard to find. It doesn't mean you stop your searching. All your journey needs is time. You can let your heart get broken, 'cause there's no heart that time can't mend. There was love when your life started, and there will be love at the end.
Hi, I'm Geraldine Hollett, and I'm with the band The Once. And The Once is comprised of Phil Churchill, myself, Geraldine Hollett, and Andrew Dale. And the name means in a minute, imminently. I'll get to it in now. The Once. It's a Newfoundland saying.
If I was being honest and not cheeky, I would say The Once is a three-piece indie trad vocal trio from Newfoundland, and we do songs that we grew up with, and those songs that we've grown up with have inspired us to write our own material that'll hopefully someday be in the books that we looked at when we were young and be alongside of the stuff that inspired us to maybe inspire someone else. If I was being cheeky, I would say The Once is the reason why I'm not a high school teacher and why my mom at 70 still worries about me.
I tried to put out your fire, but it burned for too long. They all said, don't let her quit till you tried her. She could will put out your fire, but I lie more than most. Am I supposed to just write it all up on some sign on a post that I keep holding you close every time she's gone? Well, she's gone. Well, maybe, baby, maybe you just can't say you hate me this far into your life. And maybe, just maybe, you're thinking my way lately. And if it's over tonight, let's finish the drive. The questions I've learned from the bridges I've burned, I just don't think I can keep defending it or pretending I won't do it again. Well, maybe, baby, maybe you just can't say you hate me this far into your life. And maybe, just maybe, you're thinking my way lately. And if it's over tonight, let's finish the drive. Let's finish the drive. Ah, 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 ah,
Cradle Hill as a song is something that was probably the first piece of music that I composed and had to play in front of people. And it was for my favorite writer, Al Pittman, who came from my neck of the woods. And Al was just a beautiful, brilliant soul. And sadly, he was very tortured by his vices and died a little bit too young.
It's about resettlement and how back in the 70s, everyone who had worked so hard on their life and so hard to build a home here in the fishing communities, the government said, we can't get roads and access to you, so we're going to move you out of here.
You're not supposed to lose your community. You're not supposed to lose your country. You're not supposed to lose these things. And there's really no manual. There's not, there's books out there to say, how to deal with grief, with the loss of a parent. There's no book that says when your community is shut down and your houses are bulldozed and forgotten about, this is how you get over that. So that one I find a beautiful reminder of what everybody went through here before us and just how utterly easy we have it in this place now because of strong folks like that.
When the sun goes down on Cradle Hill and darkness then fills up the sky and memories fill strolled up Cradle Hill. These are the things I keep with me. They are the constant joys of love, and they were ours and still will be while stars shine up above. These constant joys of love. Remember what it all meant then, the fragrant flowers blooming there, and birds whose summer song did fill the evening air, did fill the evening air. These are the things I keep with me. They are the constant joys of love, and they were ours and still will be while stars shine up above. These constant joys of love, of love. When the sun goes down on Cradle Hill and darkness then fills up the sky and memories fill your mind, I hope you do not cry. Look at the stars above, letting these constant joys of love, letting these constant joys of love, these constant joys of love, these constant joys of love, of love.
I think one of the nicest things about about songwriting, or even for that matter, like choosing songs, that connect with you somehow. I mean, they allow you to help understand your world a little bit better, the world that you're living in, and to help find meaning in the things around you.
I keep hearing that people are responding to us, and I see it to a degree when we're on stage, but we're so busy doing it, I think that sometimes we don't notice that it is really affecting people. But the little notes that get slipped into our guitar cases, or requests for songs handed backstage, written by like 6-year-olds in crayon and stuff. And like we've had notes where people have said that, several members of their families passed away, and they, threw on our album and listened to it for about a week straight. And I have said that about bands, but bands like U2, you know what I mean? Like real bands. And I don't think we now, nor will we ever really see ourselves as that for somebody. I just can't wrap my head around that, what we're doing and going out and just kind of like, strumming a couple chords and singing some lyrics and writing some stuff that seems important to us. It seems really hard to me, for me to believe that that's what's happening.
The rain is pouring, the wind is blowing, and the water is raging, and your hands are bleeding, the lines are cutting, and still so much work left to do. The years made you tougher, not pain, not hunger could turn you away from the sea. You don't have a choice, so I won't raise my voice when you wake every morning and leave. And how many times did my heart skip inside my chest as I slept by the phone? And how many times has this window held my breath as I'm thinking of you all alone? Will you swing me around, lift my feet off the ground? Don't ever let me go. Sway to and fro, and though you don't know, whisper to me each night. I'll always make it back home. It's the fall of the year and the skies have cleared. I'm breathing a sigh of relief. The winter brings comfort to this house. Our number, we've added one, become three. Once she was born in the twilight of morn, you held my hand as I cried. 18 years later, 3 sisters we made her. You looked in your daughter's blue eyes. I know they all said that my heart made no sound when they hoisted me up on the bow. But I can't recall a face in this squall. It's a face that looks back at me now. Will you swing me around, lift my feet off the ground? Don't ever let me go. Sway to and fro, and though you don't know, whisper to me each night. I'll always make it back home. I'll always make it back home. The clouds are parting, the sun is rising, and the moon it still lingers past dawn. Your voice in my ear, I can hear it so clear, says Deanie, take the wheel and hold on. Oh, you take the wheel and hold on, while I swing you around, lift your feet off the ground. I won't ever let you go. Sway to and fro, and though you don't know, whisper to me each night. Will you swing me around, lift my feet off the ground? Don't ever let me go. Sway to and fro, and though you don't know, whisper to me each night. I'll always make it back home.
traveling and making music and bringing Newfoundland music and just our spirit, I guess, to the world is so important. And I don't think we even realize how important it is until we do it. I don't think we realize how strong it could be to people. Everyone has stories. Everyone on the planet has stories of hardship, or somebody getting hurt, or someone dying, or someone, you know, farming, or losing their dads to the sea, or to farming, or something. Like everyone you meet has a story. And our stories, the ones that we want to tell, are about the core of, you know, what hurts us, but how we keep going no matter what, how we just like force ourselves to drive forward. It's important. Honestly, I think we learn who we are by doing that, so it is important.
When you come to a place like Newfoundland as an early settler and decide to stay here, well, you're not staying for the weather. You're not staying for the arid farmland, and you might be staying for the fish, but that can only make you so happy and sustain you for so long. Music has been something that the people of Newfoundland have had such a voracious appetite for, that one of the instruments that is associated, synonymous with Newfoundland, is the button accordion. That's not ours. We didn't bring that over. That was Portuguese sailors who came over and left that instrument with us. And I mean, people would trade, you know, fish, dogs, children to get their hands on a button accordion to be able to have some sort of joy. And it's funny because the music that ended up coming out of here can be really depressing and incredibly sad, but just the act of making it is joyful. And people say to us when we started off, we would have all these really sad songs, but we weren't sad playing them, just the act of doing that with each other, and to be able to think back and be part of some sort of, you know, line that might have started in the early 1600s, and it's just, you know, continuing on, and we're on it. And any one of us here who has ever picked up a guitar and ever sung anything about anything is on that line. And a place like this, where we're so defined by the people who came before us, we will do anything to get on that line and to be a part of what this place is.
This is the Once Kerosene, scene 1, take 1.
Order up.
I remember the time when my granddad and I would sit by the fire at night, and I'd listen to stories of how he once lived by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. He said, Mom and Dad sent me off to school, where I learned how to read and to write. And they'd listen for hours as I read from my books, by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. Your grandma and I, we were wed at 16. Lord, she was a beautiful sight. And proudly I placed the ring on her hand, by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. About 1 year later, your daddy was born, and your grandma held my hand so tight. Oh, I can tell the joy as she brought forth new life, by the glow of the kerosene light, by the glow of the kerosene light. But having her child, it did weaken her so. She just wasn't up to the fight. And she looked so peaceful as she went to her rest by the glow of the kerosene light. By the glow of the kerosene light. Then as now the times they were hard. To succeed you would try all your might. And sometimes love bloomed, and sometimes dreams died. By the glow of the kerosene light. By the glow of the kerosene light. By the glow of the kerosene light.
Our music comes from what inspires us, what we are, and honestly, it comes from the ground up. I don't know how to describe it. You listen to it, it comes from the stories that we grew up with and that made us who we are. And if, honestly, we didn't put that music out there, we'd be failing ourselves, I think.
There's a lot out there that we have no control over, and these songs help provide some comfort in that. You know, they can be they're great. They can be a warm blanket, you know, to help soothe you. Or if you need it, they can be a splash of cold water, you know, just sort of help wake you up and just, you know, take stock in what you've got, you know, and to help realize that, man, it's okay. Everything's it's okay. It's gonna be all right. You know, you're not alone. Like there's people out there all around, you know, that are actually sharing a lot more of the same experiences as you are than you might think.
Well, we did a Christmas album because 5 years ago, CBC, who had just started to realize that we were a band, asked us to do a CBC special. So we did it for Canada Live, and we got to do this special. And we learned all kinds of songs that we found inspiring to us or that we wanted to do, and we did it for the CBC special. And then every year after that, for the last, 4 years, I guess, this will be our 5th year coming up, and we have as a national tour now. We just fill up Gower Street United Church downtown St. John's, and it's like we travel all year round. And coming home for Christmas, we always take Christmas off. It doesn't matter. Christmas is off. No, we don't do stuff during Christmas. It's like, I'm going to hang out with my family, that's it. So so Christmas is like a coming home. Let's get excited. Let's just share Christmas. Because it feels like a big house party. And everybody comes in, everybody sings along, we have a lot of fun. So when we did an album, we wanted to put some of those standards on there, and we wanted to bring some more music to the table. So, you know, our kids, or we don't have kids yet, but our kids and our, you know, family can sing along, and we can carry that tradition forward, because I think that's a big part of Newfoundland culture, is carrying our tradition as much forward as possible. Like, we're a little off the rails.
Lula, thou little tiny child, bye bye lule, lule, thou little tiny child, bye bye lule, lule. Oh sisters too, how may we do for to preserve this day, this poor youngling for whom we sing. Bye bye lule, 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 lula, thou little tiny child. Bye bye lule, lule, thou little tiny child. Bye bye lule, lule. raging, charge that he hath this day. His men of might in his own sight, all children young to slay. Luli, lula, thou little tiny child, bye bye, luli, lule, thou little tiny child, bye bye, luli, lule. Then woe is me, poor child, for thee, and ever mourn and say, for thy parting, neither say nor sing. Bye bye, luli, lule, luli, lula, thou little tiny child. Bye bye, luli, lule, thou little tiny child. Bye bye, luli, lule.
Gabriel's Message. Yeah, I've always been a big fan of that song, and I've always heard such incredibly beautiful, massive versions of it that I really felt the need to do it just because of the story. The idea, I'm a big fan of, when I think of Gabriel, I think of, terrifying shepherds. I mean, I love that image of just the massive scope of what was happening to these people in this story. And I think it comes from, in the church that I grew up, when you look up to the left-hand side, on the right-hand side was St. John the Evangelist, and on the left-hand side was St. George the Dragon Slayer. And he had full armor, sword, dead dragon at his feet. And as a little kid, sometimes, sitting through church could be hard. To be able to see that and sort of latch on to those types of stories can keep you involved. And to me, this song has that kind of, that kind of flaming sword punch to it. And I just think that's a nice way to, for me, I just think that's a cool take on A Christmas Carol. Because they're all very, a lot of them are, candles and bonnets and stuff like this, and, which are great. We love those, we sing those. But now and then, just to kind of, thrown in the gut with something unexpected, I think is great.
The angel Gabriel from heaven came. His wings as drifted snow, his eyes as flame. All hail, said he, thou lowly maiden Mary, most highly favored lady. Gloria, for known a blessed mother thou shalt be. All generations laud and honor thee. Thy son shall be Emmanuel, by seers foretold, most highly favored lady. Gloria. Then gentle Mary meekly bowed her head. To me be as it pleaseth God, she said. My soul shall laud and magnify his holy name, most highly favored lady. Gloria. Of her Emmanuel the Christ was born in Bethlehem. snow, his eyes as flame. All hail, said he, thou lowly maiden Mary, most highly favored lady, Gloria, Gloria.
I'll just tell you, there is something bigger than us out here, out there in the world. I believe that. I think most Newfoundlanders do. And I believe that we all feel as well that we've been gifted with life, and we are all in it together, and we're all going to the same place in the end. But there's a lot of love that can be had if we just open ourselves up to it. And I feel like that's Newfoundland, and that's what coming home even is in Newfoundland. That's the spiritual stuff that we hold on to tight right here.
Do you believe in fate? That we've been traveling on the same path. It's taken miles to make it here. And in the end it seems so clear. We are all running. We are all running the same race. We are all going. We are all going to the same place. How long have you been on this road? Why do you carry such a heavy load? Stay a while and ease your mind. The truth is rare and hard to find. We are all running. We are all running the same race. We are all going. We are all going to the same place.
I think when something happens to you, like this band did, by accident, I think to say it's by accident is not completely true. We say that all the time, but obviously there was some sort of desire to do something maybe a little outside of the norm, maybe a little outside of what our families had done.
When we first started singing together, there was something about our harmonies. We naturally took parts, and they just made this sound that we're like, well, I mean, it decided our path. I mean, when that happened, we just went.
You know, a lot of people get opportunities to make music, play in bands, and you know, have varying degrees of success and whatnot. Not everyone is fortunate enough to get the opportunity to make music with people that they really love, that they really care about.